Okay, so as we have discussed yesterday, I think we have already covered up the prerequisites, correct? And now
Yeah.
we have to continue with the practicals like from second to eighth session. Okay, so what I will do, I will configure each and everything on my hardware, and after that meeting's over, I will share that recording with you. Okay, so in that way it will be faster and you can refer the recordings and you can set up the same infra on your hardware. Okay, if you found any issue you can always contact me. Okay.
Okay. Just I want to tell you that I tell you yesterday that you want to see that router configuration and all. And once you confirm me what IP address I need to give in ranges, so I can go further to install roles and
Okay, so same I am doing here, as as I told you, I need two machines like DC and DDC. I hope you have configured those machines, correct? So
yeah,
okay, so what I can do here now, is your machines are powered on right now?
yeah, powered.
So let me make you host for now and just share your screen so that I can confirm the settings what you have done. Okay.
Yeah. Now you can see.
Yes, I can see now. Give me a moment. Yes, I can see it. Go to your domain
Yeah.
controller.
This is my Wi-Fi.
Not required,
Router
not
that
required. No, no, not required. Wi-Fi not required. Cancel it.
not record any.
No, no, no. Go to your domain controller. Show me the IP address
Yeah.
what you have given.
I'm not configuring any IP address. Just I change name.
Okay, so let me configure it. Just give me the controls.
Yeah.
Okay, so first let me minimize this. But it's not working. My click is not working. I'm not sure why. Even keyboard not working on your screen. Okay, let me request the
Wait.
controls again. Now please allow it. My controls are not working on your screen. Okay, anyway, let me release the controls and now just minimize the that VMware Workstation Pro
Yeah.
and open the network adapters of your laptop. How many network adapters are there? But it's simply a network, not from here. What you are doing? Open run box and type ncpa.cpl. Open run box. Yeah, type ncpa.cpl. Hit enter. Do
Yeah.
right click on VMnet1. Click
Yeah.
on the status and click on the details. Okay, I have configured it for 10.100. Okay, close it. Now open the VMware workstation. Now click on the Ethernet 0. Yeah, click, do right click here, status, into the properties. Click on IPv4. Not here.
Yeah, remote IPv6.
Yeah, remove it and double click on TCP IP4. No, no, you do not have to uncheck this here. Now enter here 192.168.10.100. This will be IP address for your domain controller.
192.168.
10.100.
So how you are giving this? May I know that?
I have configured the basic networking things now. So now go to the subnet. It will be 255.255.0 automatically into the gateway 192.168.10.2. And
So it is. We are not assigned. We are giving static IP to this.
always a domain controller must have an static IP address, correct? Now enter into the preferred DNS, same IP address 192.168.10.100. It will be your preferred DNS server. Okay. Now,
From where you are selecting that 192.168. Yeah, I want to look. Oh, starting we are one minute.
yeah, I have configured your network adapter for this IP segment like 10.0, correct? If you can see,
Yeah. Here you are IP address
yes.
10.02. Yes.
Okay. Now cancel
So
it.
with so you are taking this last 100.
Yeah, no, it should be identical, na? To identify. That is the only reason why I'm taking 10.100. Click OK.
Whatever it may be, we can take.
Yeah, you can take up to 2 to 3. Correct. Click OK. Close it. Now disable the network adapter and enable it again.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, have you added the DSCP role?
No.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not configuring any
you
role.
have not promoted it to as a domain controller, right? Correct.
No, not promoted, not installed any roles.
Oh, so please perform that operation after this session. Okay. For the same, click on the manage, add roles and features. Then you have to select ADDS, DSCP, and DNS. All okay.
Equally, one at a time we can configure.
Mm-hmm. Maximize this. Click on the next. Again next. Again. No. Cancel it. Cancel it. Cancel it. It should be host only. Do right click on DC. Your network adapter is not correct. Do right click on need DC. Yes. Do right click into the proper settings. Yeah. Settings. Click on the network adapter and make it host only because we are configuring it into a private LAN. Okay, not over the internet. So now wait for it. Now go to the dashboard. Click on the local server. No, wait for it. Click on the local server. And now, okay, it's 10.100 now. Perfect. Now add. Click on the manage and add roles and features.
We do not even change the time zone and all.
Not required actually. If you want to change, you can change.
So at the time of VDA, there is gap of 5 minutes. It will be not unable to communicate. No.
No, it will communicate. I will take care. Select second one, then DSCP and DNS.
Active Directory Domain Services DHCP.
And DNS.
Continue.
Click on next. Again next. And I hope you will be able to promote it as a domain controller after those feature installation. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let me share my screen and I will continue. because it will take time to promote a server to domain controller. Okay, so okay, so I have shared my screen. Let me know once it is visible.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, I have created two machines so far. Like first one is my domain controller, and the same IP I have given here. Okay, what I have given to you, correct?
Yeah.
And why I used it, because my network is also configured as a same, because these are the easiest settings anyone can understand. Okay, so now as I told you, I have already promoted this server as a domain controller. So now I have to perform one more activity, like I have to configure a DHCP scope within my domain controller. Correct? Why? Because I want all the IP address should be allocated from my DHCP scope only within this range itself, 192.168.10.xx.
From all school.
Okay. So for the same, I have already added the role here, as you can see. Now let me complete the DHCP configurations here, and that is my administrator account, domain administrator. So before that, what I can do, I do not want to use my default administrator account, so let me create another domain account here. And to the user administrator, let me copy it, and let me create one user by name root, or you can create by your name, it's up to you. Okay, let me enter the password. Perfect. Simply click on next and finish it. So this will be my domain user. Okay, and it have all the memberships which is required to manage a domain as an administrator. Okay, simply now let me sign up with my default user, and now I can log in again with my root user, which is domain user in my case. So
Yeah.
always whenever you are working into the production, it is it will be always, for security perspective, you do not have to use any default user account. Okay, for Windows it will be administrator, correct?
Yeah.
Or for Linux it will be root or any other user account. So now I have to configure the DHCP scope here. So root user is fine, let me commit it. And now I have to configure my DHCP scope. So for the same, go to the DHCP, then let me expand this. So that will be my domain, DC will be my host
Yeah.
name, and abc.com is my domain. In your case, domain may be different. Okay. So now into the IPv4, I have to create new scope. And now it is asking for a scope name. So let me mention here ABC. Now it is asking for starting IP, like how do you want to deliver the IP address. So I can select here, like I want IP address from 192.168.10.50 to 192.168.10.99. So my DHCP scope will deliver IP address from 10.50 to 10.99 only. Okay, means
Yeah.
it will cover almost 50 devices, correct, which will be fine for us right now. Okay, simply click on next. Now I do not want any exclusion or delay, and 8 days lease is default, that is fine. I want to configure those options now. Now it is asking for my gateway. So my gateway is 192.168.10.2. Okay, and same will be gateway
From where,
for US itself.
from
Okay.
where you get this gateway?
Okay, so for the same you must have some basic knowledge about the networking part. So as you can see here, if I talk about the virtual network adapter, so I have selected 10.0 series here. Okay, which is
Yeah.
virtual network adapter for my VMware Workstation Pro, correct? And if I talk about the network adapter which is attached to my laptop, so as you can see from VMware, I am getting two network adapter here. Okay, so first one will be my 10.1. Okay, which is my physical laptop IP address in that segment, okay, from VMware. So 10.1 is here and 10.2 will be the firewall of this VMware Workstation Pro, okay. So that is the only reason why I am using 10.2 as a firewall
So,
IP address, or not firewall, gateway, okay. So 10.2 will not be allocated to anyone. It will, that particular
so we
IP.
can use 3, 4, 5. What it may be.
No. You cannot use 345. Okay. You have to use 10.2 itself only. Okay.
If my physical machine is 2 means how?
No. Your physical machine will get 10.1, na? This IP address. Correct. This one. Are you getting my
Okay.
point? And 10.2 is reserved for gateway for VMware Workstation Pro. Means not 10.2 only. If you can change the series like 20.0, 30.0, in that case 30.2 or 20.2 or 1.2, whatever it may be. Okay. So
Okay.
let me try to okay, so if you click on the host only, as you can see, we have selected range means 10.0 like 10.xxx, which is type C IP address. Okay. And if I click on this one, so as you can see here, we have selected 20.0 like 20.xxx. Okay. So if I click on the here, like on the net settings, so as you can see, the default gateway which is given by VMware Workstation Pro is 20.2. Like for this adapter, if I click here, so in this case you will get 10.2 only, correct? So that is the only reason from where I am getting that 10.2 IP address. Got it?
Mhm. From that setting we can see.
Yeah. So that will be my parent domain. It is fine. Simply click on next. I do not want to configure any one server. Now I want to activate this scope now. So my scope has been created now. So as you can see, when I expand this into the address leases, so far there is no IP address is getting delivered from this scope. Why? Because we have not configured it. Okay. So now what I can do, first I have to disable this and enable this to enable the scope that I have created. Okay. So let's wait for it. Okay. Now as you can see, abc.com. So this is static IP,
Yes.
and as you can see, it will never be there in DHCP scope. Why? Because for DHCP scope, we have selected the range from 10.50 to 99 only, correct? So
Yes.
if you want to provide any static IP, you can use 10.101, 102, 103, whatever it is, okay? All those IP address will be out of our DHCP scope only, okay? So now, as you can see, my machine is configured on host only network adapter, as I have shown you earlier, correct? So now, and so that means my DHCP scope is running on host only network adapter, which is private network adapter, okay? So if I want to deliver
Yeah.
the IP addresses from DHCP scope, that means my all the machines will be connected to this adapters only, okay? So for the same, what I can do, let me log in here into DDC. I have just created the machine and I have done nothing in that. So as you can see, server manager, and now wait for it. And if I can see here, no IP address is here so far. So why? Let me minimize this and let me check on which network adapter it is. Okay, so before that, what I have to do, I have to enable internet for this machine. So let me change it to net. So just suppose in your host only network adapter, you will never get internet access. Okay, so as I have downloaded the evolution version for this machine, correct? So as you can see here now it is getting IP address from my DHCP scope on host only network adapter only. Okay, so now let me cancel this. So now you will see if I refresh here, 10.50 is getting delivered to this machine. So right now it's a random host name for this machine. We will change it. So, but with that network adapter, your internal machines will be able to communicate, correct? So, but you will never get internet access on those machines. So as I'm using trial version and my Windows is not activated so far, so what I have to do, I have to change network adapter for a while. In that way, it will communicate. Let me change it to net. So now internet access is enabled for my machine. Let's wait. And it will automatically get the license from Microsoft for 180 days. So now if I change the network settings to host only, so in that case, you will be able to see it will getting IP address from DHCP scope of VMware workstation, which is 20.129. So let me show you here. As you can see, if I click here, where is that window? Wait for it. Okay, so as you can see, I have two network adapters. On host only, I have deselect this. I have unchecked this box because I do not want IP address I do not want VMware DHCP scope to deliver IP address to my internal machines like my VLAN, that is my internal LAN. Okay, but if I click on net only, so you can see I have selected this DHCP service. This is a DHCP service of VMware workstation, and right now it is delivering the IP address to DHCP. And if I use that DHCP service, the internet access will be enabled for my virtual machines if I'm using NAT adapter. Okay, but if I'm using host only, there will be no internet access. Okay, so those are the separate VLANs. So as you can see now, my license is activated for 180 days, and it only takes 1 or 2 minutes to get this activated. Now I can switch back to my host only adapter because I want this machine to be communicated to my domain controller. Okay, so let me check here. Let me refresh the server manager, and now you will be able to see again it is getting IP address from abc.com, which is my domain. So now what I have to do, I have to join this machine into the domain, which is DDC will be the host name for this machine, and my domain is abc.com. And let me enter root user password. In my case, my root user is domain user. Okay, so as you can see, now this machine is into the domain, and let me restart it now. Okay, so now as you can see here, if I refresh this into the domain controller, and this 10.50 IP address is for DDC, which is delivery
DDC.
controller, correct? So if I go here, like into the Active Directory users and computers, and let me expand this into the computer, as you can see, one machine is added to my Active Directory server. Okay, so now as you know, I right now I do not want to enable firewall for my entire machines which are connected into my domain. So I have to turn off the domain profile for each and every machine. So we have two ways to perform this action. First one, either we can manually turn off the firewall for all the machines, like domain firewall. I'm not talking about the public firewall. Okay, so either I can turn off the domain firewall manually uh, from every virtual machine or physical machine, or I can directly turn off the firewall with the help of group policy object. So here I'm going to use group policy object to disable the domain firewall. Why? Because I do not want to manually open the multiple ports. It will be time consuming. So I'm opening group policy management here because I want my firewall to be managed by my group policy object. So let me expand my domain, and here I am editing my default domain policy. And now into the computer configuration preferences, no, into the policies, administrative templates, then network, then where is the network connections, where it is. Okay, network connections, Windows firewall, domain profile. So I'm going to not this. I'm going to turn off my domain firewall. Okay. And also I can turn off my standard or public firewall as well, but this is not required for now. Okay. So that is done. My domain firewall is off. Let me close this and let me open the PowerShell here and simple GP update /force. So have you ever worked on the group policy management?
No.
Okay, it's a simple thing. Actually, what I'm doing, I'm configuring my group policy to turn off the domain Windows firewall. In that way, I
So,
will be able to turn off the firewall of all the systems which are connected into my domain. Okay.
okay.
So basically, as you can see, my firewall is turned off from here. So if I refresh the server manager now, let me go back to the domain server. So you can see my domain firewall is off by default now. Okay.
Yeah.
And that will be common for every system. So now if I log in here with my root user or any other domain user account, okay, so it will automatically turn off the firewall for domain. Let's wait for it. So let me click here on local server. Okay, so as you can see here, it is showing domain firewall is off. Why? Because you have to run the group policy again here, like gp update /force. Let's wait for it to deploy. Otherwise, we have to reboot the machine. Okay, so let me refresh it now and see the result. Okay, as you can see, my domain firewall is off for this particular system. Okay, so whenever I will join any new machine into my domain, all those for all those machine, my domain firewall will be off only. Okay, so now, so that was the basic kind of stuff that I have just performed. Okay, I have done nothing. I have configured ADDS roles, then I have configured DSCP. That's it, and I have joined this machine into my domain. Okay, so if you want to turn off the firewall manually, what you can do, you can click here, and from here as well you can turn off the firewall. Okay, like where is that? You will get multiple options here. Where is that? Here, from here. Okay, real-time protection and those kind of things you can turn off if you want, but I have done this from my domain controller. Okay, because I do not want to manually perform the repetitive task for every machine. Okay, give me a moment, I'm getting one call on mobile. Yeah, hi, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have just performed the basic stuff. Okay, so I hope I have already shared those ISO files and you have downloaded those files, correct?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm down.
so here, as you can see, I have downloaded virtual apps and desktop 7 ISO, then hypervisor ISO, Windows Server and Win10 ISO. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to install all the core components into DDC itself. So for the same, I have to mount that ISO media.
So can you repeat me once this what we actually did? First, we have created one machine domain controller and we
Hmm,
add roles.
yeah, we have we have configured this machine as a domain controller, and we have also configured one DSCP scope in to the domain controller itself, correct?
Yeah.
And with that DHCP scope, we are getting IP address in all the virtual machines. Okay. And now we have to configure the DDC as a delivery controller. Okay. So
Okay.
for the same, I have to mount one ISO media, and the ISO media is Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop 7. Okay.
Okay.
Let me click here. Now, basically, this is the ISO given by Citrix only. Okay. And let me install it. Basically, right now in this session, we are configuring nothing. We are just installing Citrix virtual apps and desktop into our delivery controller. Okay. And we are configuring this as a delivery controller. So when you open that ISO file or when you run that ISO file, you will get two options here, like to deliver applications only or to deliver application and desktop both. Okay. So here, what we will do, we will deliver both the things, correct, with that single console. So I will continue with the to deliver virtual apps and desktop both. So just click on the start. So now it is asking like, what do you want to perform? Like, do you want to install virtual delivery delivery agent to configure this machine, or do you want to uh, need some extended deployment? So extended deployments, I will let you know further. Right now we are going to configure this as a delivery controller. Okay, so let me select this.
So
At,
what about license server?
mhm.
License server?
License server, the port number is 27,000 and it is used to allocate license to virtual machines, correct? And we have to procure
Yes.
the license from Citrix for the same. Okay. So basically what we are doing here, this is a delivery controller as I have shown you earlier, correct? And
Yes.
into a delivery controller, we will configure core components like storefront server, studio, director, and license server. And AD server we have created separately. Okay. And what we
Okay.
will do, we will also install SQL server into this system only. Okay. So now, as usual, we have to accept the license. If you want to read, you can read, but I do not want to read. Okay. Simply click on next. So now, as you can see, those are the core components which we are going to install into this machine. First one is studio, second one is director, third one is license server. So as I can see, show you here, like delivery controller is nothing, it is a centralized console, and in that particular machine we are installing core components like storefront, studio, director, and license server, correct? So as you can see here. Okay, simply click on next. So these are the prerequisites, like to install this thing. What are the prerequisites? Like we will be requiring SQL server and Windows remote assistance. Those are the this is the feature from Microsoft which is used to remotely troubleshoot the machine, means to take a remote session of any virtual machine which is running into the infra, and this is for troubleshooting perspective. Like director is a tool which is used for troubleshoot the virtual machines or physical machines, okay, which is running over the Citrix infra. Okay, so if you have any separate SQL server in your infra, you can use that SQL server as well. But as we are running short of hardware resources, so what we will do, we are configuring SQL server in this machine only. Okay. Simply click on next. So for your interview perspective, those are the important port numbers that you should remember, like for delivery controller, 80, 89 and 443, for director, 80 and 443. And these are the port numbers for license server, like 2700, and for server 7279, and for client 8083. Okay, so those you have to mention, and those firewall ports will automatically going to open during the installation. Okay, simply click on next. So here is a summary what we have selected. Okay, let's wait for it. So here is a summary what we have selected and what is going to install, like the core component, delivery controller, studio, director, and license server. These are the prerequisites which is required to install those core components like .NET 4.8, then Visual, then localhost storage cache, SQL Server, then Visual, then Web Server IIS, and Windows Remote Assistance. Okay, so simply click on install here. So as you can see, it is showing about 20 minutes of remaining, but as per my personal experience, it will take somewhere around 30 minutes, and it will ask you to reboot your machines multiple time. And after every reboot, you have to log in with the same user. Like in my case, it is root, from which user account you have initiated the installation. Okay, any doubt in that? This is just an installation, no configuration so far. Okay, you can assume that like we are just installing the application right now in this session. Okay, so now as it will take 30 minutes and we have nothing to do for next 30 minutes, so what I can do for you, parallelly we can cover this as well, like how to install and configure the hypervisor. Okay, so uh, just keep it ideal for some time, it will automatically finish. So in a meantime, I have to create one new virtual machine for hypervisor. And as hypervisor is a Linux flavor only, so let me select here Linux, and I can select other Linux like 5.x 64-bit. So those settings you have to remember, because what we are doing, we are installing hypervisor on hypervisor. Like as we are already running on one hypervisor, which is VMware Workstation Pro, and on that Workstation Pro, we are configuring one more hypervisor. Okay, so click on
Yeah, but
next.
I need VMware ESXi. No?
No, why?
So it will be easy to do in infra. No?
No,
Many of the 90% of infra using VMware vSphere,
right.
ESXi
So
host.
right. So what I will do, once we will complete the Citrix, then I will let you know how to connect VMware into Citrix VMware hypervisor into Citrix Infra. That is not a big deal. Okay.
Okay, no
So
need to configure that.
no. We just have to add that VMware ESXi host into our Citrix Infra, and in that way we will be able to manage multiple things. Okay. So right now you have nothing to worry. Okay. So now let me name this virtual machine as Gen Server -01, and I have to select at least 100 GB of hard drive for our testing. No, and what I have to do, I have to increase the memory to 10 GB, like 10240 for this hypervisor. Okay, and for Gen server installation or Citrix hypervisor installation, we have to select this ISO media. Okay, and let me change network adapter to host only. Close it, finish it. And one more settings I have forgot, like into the CPU I have to virtualize this. Okay, now so listen, basically Gen server is a Linux based virtual machine. Even Citrix ESXi is also a Linux based machine. Okay, so at the time of installation of this machine, you cannot use your mouse, correct? You have to complete that installation with the help of keyboard itself. So let me power on this machine, and you will see enter. In the meantime, let me go back here. Okay, it is asking me to reboot the machine, so let's reboot it. And in the meantime, we can perform that installation as well. It's restarting. So today is you are on holiday, correct?
Yeah. Tomorrow till Monday it is.
Perfect. I am also totally available tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Okay, so we will
So you
connect
can
and
take morning, no? 9, 10 o'clock.
And tomorrow I will available for the entire day. Okay. So now, as you can see, I have login with the same user account and I have nothing to do. It will auto reinitiate the installation where it prompted us to reboot the machine. Okay. So you have nothing to do. Let's wait and go back here. So as you can see, this ISO is booted now, and now we have to select the keyboard layout. So US will be fine. And as usual, accept it. Again, license, accept it. And now we will be going to use thin provisioning like for virtual machines, because we also need the optimized storage for our virtual desktop, correct? Okay. Now it is asking to verify the installation. Okay, it is asking to type of installation source. So in our case, it is local media, which we have mounted on this machine. Now it is asking to verify the installation media. So I'm pretty sure my installation media is correct. But if you want to verify, you can verify the installation source. But as it will take time, so we have nothing to verify so far. Simply cook. Okay, now it is asking to set a password for root user. As I have told you, hypervisor is Linux based operating system. So we have to set the password for root user. So let me enter the password 2 times. And that will be my password to log in into my hypervisor. Okay. Now it is asking like how you want to deploy the IP address for this hypervisor. So I'm going to use my DHCP scope for sure. Now it is asking to enter the host name for this machine. So in my case, it's Gen server -01. It is asking for time zone. Let me select Asia here and Kolkata because Delhi is not listed so far for Citrix. Okay. Now it is asking for time zone. So NTP will be fine. It will get IP address from my DHCP server. And now install this media. Quite simple installation. You have nothing to do. You have to select few options. You can follow this video. I will share this after this. So go back here. So as you can see, multiple prerequisites installed, and still we have to wait for 3. Right now it's installing the SQL server. As you can see, now it is showing 30 minutes remaining. So no issue in that. So in a meantime, let's wait for this to finish. And as we have configured DHCP scope here, so in sometimes you will see our DHCP scope will issue one more IP address for our hypervisor, which is Gen server 01. So let's wait for it. Okay, so it will
We,
take time. No issue in that. If you have any concern, any query so far, you can ask.
okay, we not, it will be joined automatically to domain
Which?
hypervisor.
No.
So you are telling that it will be assigning IP address from our scope.
Look, DHCP scope is different thing, na? It is used to deliver the IP addresses, correct?
Yeah.
And why it will get IP address from our DHCP scope? Because we are using the same network adapter, which is host only, correct? This one.
Okay.
And our scope is configured into this scope itself. So actually, this is the basic. I can understand you are not a network guy. Even I'm not from proper network team itself, but I have done some R&D in network perspective as well. So you do not have to waste the time for that thing, because in every organization there is a separate network team, correct, to configure the things for
Yeah.
you, correct?
Yeah.
So you do not have to waste your time for those things. But if you want to learn for your future, it will be always good to get some knowledge for different domains, correct?
Yeah.
So still installing SQL Server 2019, and it is 88% completed. Okay, so now it is asking if you want to install any supplement packs. No, I do not want to install any supplement packs. And now it is completing the installation. So let's wait for a while. In between, it's still taking time. So right now, what is your job profile?
See, in Citrix,
So what operations
Citrix,
you are performing in Citrix?
I'm not started my work actually.
Mhm.
Even I don't know that how what the operation will going on.
So how you are working for Citrix? Like I can't understand that thing.
I'll tell you in separate. We have a conversation separate on call.
Okay, okay, no issue.
Because you're uploading this in YouTube.
Yeah, yes, I will upload this. But that is the only reason why my charges is quite less, because in that way I will get some content for my YouTube channel as well. Correct.
Yeah.
So that is the only
So
thing.
I will be able to handle after your classes in Citrix completely.
Yes, even you can crack the exam if you want to
Mm,
go through the exam. Just let me know. I'm always having some vouchers from Citrix, and I will help you in that to get some extra discount for whatever the
okay.
price that Citrix is offering. Okay.
Okay. Vouchers means in which way it will be going to help?
Okay. So just suppose if you are opting for Citrix certification, okay, and the
Mm,
price mentioned over Citrix website is $100. Just suppose it is $100. Okay. So
okay.
if you want to try, I means if you go for that examination with my credentials, with my Citrix credential, in that way you will get up to 30% of discounts. Means you will be able to cover up that certification in $70 only. Okay,
Yeah.
because I have some of my training institute vouchers which I have taken from Citrix. Okay,
Okay.
for my students only, for as a educational license I have got. Okay.
Okay. In Citrix, you are telling the troubleshooting and all from L1 level perspective.
So look, first we are creating the infra. Okay, you need to
Yeah.
have some infra, na? Then only you will troubleshoot. Correct. So we are
Yeah. Yeah.
creating the infra. After that, I will let you know how to troubleshoot the things. Okay.
Okay.
It will take some time.
But in infra, there is a dedicated servers to each component, no?
Correct. Like for every component, like for studio, for director, for license, for storefront, for each and every machine, there will be a separate hardware, or it should be a virtual machine. Okay.
Yeah. So we need to install that SSL certificate for each component. We can do in our infra.
No, because we are not going to publish each and everything over the internet. Correct. And SSL is something which is relevant to licensing. Like we need to have some SSL service provider. Okay. And in we can also get this from NetScaler as well, but it is not required for your personal learnings. Okay.
But in infra, we will get a task, no?
Yeah, in infra you will get certificate as well. Correct. From the certificate
Yeah, as well.
authorities.
But I need to renew the SSL certificate though. So how to renew and all? I need to be aware of that things, no? It is necessary.
If you are working for L1, it is not necessary, but if you are working for L2 and L3 kind of profile, it will be there when you will be preparing for Citrix certified professional. Okay, so right now the course we are covering is Citrix Certified Associate for basic kind of things like for L1 support. Okay, that I will let you know for sure. No worries. But it is after the test lab setup only. Okay, not before that. Okay, so our installation is almost finished for hypervisor. It will reboot the hypervisor. And here we are getting core
Mode
component
3.
installed. Okay. So I have also shared you one application, correct? Which is called at Gen Center. Where is that? So basically, Gen Center is an application which is used to manage the hypervisor. Correct. It is a GUI tool to manage the hypervisor. So as it is a Linux based flavor, correct. So you need to have some GUI view to manage the hypervisor. So what we will do, we will connect our hypervisor to Gen Center application. But let's wait for it to start. Then I will configure this. In the meantime, we can check here. Okay, so as you can see now, one IP address is being getting delivered to hypervisor, which is genserver.1. Okay, so if you can see here, like CMD, and if I try to ping my gen server with IP address 10.51, I'm getting ping, correct? But if I try to ping with host name, I will not get gen server -01. Correct. So could you explain what may be the possible reason?
Because we are not added the machine to our Zen Center, no?
No, I'm simply asking for ping buddy. Just suppose if I try to ping DDC with host name, as you can see, I'm getting ping. Look, for Gen server, I'm getting ping with IP address, but not from the host name.
Yes.
So what is the possible reason? Simply, we have to update our DNS records. For the same, go to the tools, into the DNS. Let me expand this into the forward lookup zone, abc.com. Here, we have to create one new host record, which is a host record and PTR record. So here, what I have to do, I have to enter the host name first. Means when we are trying to ping by host name, our domain, our DNS server is not be able to identify to which IP address it has to be redirect. Correct. So we have to manually mention the IP address 192.168.10.51. Also, we have to create a PTR record for same. So now, as I have updated the DNS here, let me refresh it. Now, if I try to ping with the host name, I'm getting the IP address reply back from 10.51. Correct. So that is
Yes.
the way where DNS comes. Correct. So now it is still getting started. Okay, so that installation is almost finished. So as you can see here, what we did, we have installed delivery controllers and other core components into the DDC. Okay, and we have also installed and configured the hypervisor. Okay, so those two topics already being covered. So if you want, I can continue with those as well in this session itself, if you can
No,
manage.
nobody.
No.
No, nobody. I'll I will configure this thing and I'll let you know.
Okay, so let's wait for this to finish. So almost done. Installation is almost done. Now it is initializing the component. So wait for it. And in the meantime, let me So how much time you will take to replicate the same infra into your hardware?
I will replicate today night.
Okay, whenever you will done, please ping me so that we will connect in morning for further sessions. Okay,
Okay.
and please do not get confused or do not get hesitate to ask questions. You can ask anything. If I'm or not be always available on my WhatsApp, okay, just text me with the error codes. If you got any error, just text me. Okay, and
Okay.
also I have to take one more session with one of my student for interview perspective. Actually, he has some interview session for Citrix, so I have to explain multiple things.
This session is for me also.
No, no, not for you for now, because your lab is not set up at. So these are the basic kind of questions that are generally asked by the interviewers, like what is connection leasing, what is LSC, correct?
Mm.
And
After this session, you will going to give me this.
after the entire lab setup and troubleshooting,
Okay.
not here. Each and every component is explained in this. So so basically, you have to promote your your DC to domain controller, correct? And you have to configure the DHCP scope. DNS is by default, okay? And IP address, have I enabled the IPv6 here? Let me check. Yes, it is enabled. Let me uncheck this. And just try to follow the GPO what I have done with video. If you will not be able to get, I will help you in that as well. Okay. Still, and it is still okay. So actually, this is initializing for first time, so it may take some time. So let's wait for it. And okay, no worries. So what it will do after that? After that, it will simply ask you to reboot the machine. Okay.
Okay.
And here you will get some GUI console with host name and the IP address. Let's wait for some time. And after that, we are good to conclude this call. Okay.
Okay. My last trainer, he configured for dedicated servers. He configured license server with domain controller
Mm-hmm.
and DDC
Mm-hmm.
with another server.
Mm-hmm.
So and he showed how to add that DDC to license server,
Okay. Then,
how to create site.
yeah, each and everything we will cover. You have nothing to worry. Okay. Okay. So as you can see, this installation is almost finished now. So I do not want to collect any data. Let me uncheck this and let me click on finish. So now it will launch the Citrix Studio for us. Okay. So if I show you here, like what core components we have installed, director is here, license server is here, Scout, Studio. Apart from that, SQL server, which work as a database server for us, all those components are installed here. Okay. So let's wait to initialize the studio. And again, it is taking some time. So you have already got some training for Citrix, correct?
Yeah.
So why you are opting for second time? Like, Okay, so this is the basic console of our Citrix Studio. Okay, so
Yeah.
as you can see, we have to configure the site, correct?
Yes.
And that will be our where it is. Create a Gen desktop site and add delivery controller to this site, correct? So
Yes.
we will cover all those topics tomorrow only. Okay,
Okay.
and if you want, we can cover right now as well, but it will be lengthy session. So anyway, we will cover all those things tomorrow only. Okay, and apart from that, as you can see, our hypervisor is also initialized, and you are getting the IP address, which is getting delivered from the DHCP scope, which is 10.51. Network management, MAC address, other stuff you can get here. The host name like Gen Server 01. Authentication, we are not currently login, and you can also see the virtual machines, like how many virtual machines we have deployed into the hypervisor so far. So far there is no virtual machine. Disk and repository, the local disk, multiple options are there. So what I'm telling here to you, like, let me cover up one more topic. As I told you, Gen Center is a GUI tool, correct? Why? Because you cannot manage hypervisor with that screen, correct? There
Yes.
is nothing. So we need some
It is
GUI.
host.
Yes, it is our host. So what we have to do? We have to add that Gen server here into the Gen Center, like 192.168.10.51. Here you have to enter the user, which is root in our case, and the password for root user. Okay. So now you will see our hypervisor is here now. Okay. So if you click on console, if you enter the password here and one command, which is access console, so you will get the same screen here, what you are getting here, correct? So you can
Yes.
easily manage the hypervisor with Gen Center. So just suppose this is an infra and we are into Gen Server 01. If you click on the memory tab, you will get how many memory is available, how much memory is available so far. Okay, so as I told you, we have allocated 10 GB memory to this machine. So far we are having 8.1 available. If you go to the storage, you will get the storage details here. If you go to the networking, whatever the networking configured for our hypervisor, you will get all those here. NIC is also a network card details you will get here. Console, onto the console, you will get the same screen, what you will get on the hypervisor. If you want to monitor performance like CPU, memory, and network performance utilization, you will get all those data from here. If you want to get some user details, you will get here. And if you have more than 100 or multiple hypervisors, you can search hypervisors from this screen, but so far we are having only one hypervisor, so we have nothing to search. Okay, so just suppose this is a hypervisor. Now if someone asks you, like, you have to create one virtual machine into your hypervisor, how you will do that? You will get into this Gen Center console. Simply you can right click here, new VM, or you can also click here for new virtual machine. You can select the template, which virtual machine you want to try. You can select that machine, name it. You have to select the ISO media and the RAM. It will show like this much of memory is available. Next, the basic configuration, like how many memory is required, blah, 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 those kind of things. So those things we will cover in upcoming sessions. Okay. So basically with the help of Gen Center console, you will be easily able to manage your hypervisor. You will be able to create the virtual machine. You will be able to add some storage, whatever operation you want to perform. You can easily do that with the Gen Center console with GUI interface, correct? Okay, so now in upcoming session, what we will do, we will configure a site, okay, and we will create some virtual machine on our hypervisor. Okay. Okay, so this is done for today. Please, I will share that recording after this. Okay, and you have to deploy the same infra on your physical hardware. Then we will continue. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, buddy.
Thank.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.